Skirmish Season 14, a season that will go down in history for being the first season to feature a Silver Age format. With Chain already being banned before the season even started, everybody was anticipating and getting ready for which hero would rise to the top and start claiming victories. Briar and KO were competing for the top deck in the format, Briar just having way too many tools at her disposal to take out enemies in a blink of an eye, and KO just rolling those big numbers and coming at you with too many attacks that you just couldn't block. Both of them having their weaknesses, but those weaknesses not being enough. Right before the season, there were some bans, taking all the heroes down a couple notches, but hitting KO the least. That's when he started to really rise in popularity. It seems like you couldn't go to your locals without there being at least a couple of KOs. But whether it was boredom, the game feeling stagnant, or just because it was time for a new deck to rise to the top, Ira Crimson Haze started to rise and rise until every week of Skirmish season, she was the most represented deck and the most winning deck, and that's why, for this Skirmish season, I decided to do something smarter than what I did last time. At the Columbus Calling, I brought Ira, but I brought her using Edge of Autumn and no idea how to pilot the deck.
How did this deck perform in Columbus?
Bad. So, I thought for the best chance of winning, I would bring something completely off meta. I just wanted to jump in really quick here and say that this is probably one of the longest videos that I've ever had the chance of doing, and I would like to keep doing videos like this, so if you guys could just like and subscribe and leave some sort of comment relating to the video, that would just be super helpful in letting me know that these are something that is worth doing in the future. Thank you guys for your time, and back to the video. That's right, in preparation for the first Skirmish season that I'd actually be able to attend, I decided to take a deck that wasn't even being considered as part of the meta. While Guardians themselves were good, Pleiades wasn't really being looked at, and she's been one of my favorite heroes since Super Slam actually released. And I think it just kind of goes to show that one of my favorite types of deck is a board state deck. All that aside though, Pleiades was also a pretty good option because one, I got her Armory deck when it first came out and I played her a whole bunch and was already pretty familiar with her as a hero. And two, the other hero that I play in CC is Acilio, so I kinda have my head around how the instants work, or so I thought. So I chose her to go into this Skirmish season, and I started everything with trying to figure out the best way to build the deck. I've already recorded this video once, and it was about 50 minutes long, so I'm going to re-record it now, and I'm going to kind of just skim through the part that took up a lot of this, which was the first iterations of the deck. Because originally, I thought I was going to be able to use her hero power to turn on really devastating attacks like Concuss and Command Respect, and after going to my first Skirmish event and even the games I practice on Talishar really showed me that that playstyle just wasn't viable. And I kind of held on to the Concuss and Thumps a little too long, and I feel like I really should have just cut them earlier in hindsight. And so we're going to kind of just move now on to how the Skirmish season itself went. The first event I went to, I was up against, it was somewhere around like 10 to 14 people. I don't remember the exact number. And the first opponent I actually went up against was an Icelander. Icelander, even on Talishar, was giving me a lot of trouble because I just wasn't grasping the concept that they threw big attacks and big arcane, but a really good pilot of the deck would be able to pinpoint exactly when to and what to use against you. And when I flipped up 3 AB, they knew that they were basically going to be sending no spells at me. I also at one point tried to respond to one of their arcane spells with an arcane polarity because I didn't realize that bringing in Oasis Respite would have been better. And he informed me that I would have to pay for it because the Frostbite would be activating first, and I had no cards in hand. So he took that knowledge of the arcane polarity in my arsenal zone and basically sent no spell until, even if I did heal one off of it, I would have been dead anyways. And I lost that game, but it was closer than I thought it was going to be, so I was pretty happy with it. The next one was a Briar, and it was just a 0-for-4 mess where I couldn't keep up, and I had a lot more 2 blocks in this version of the deck, which just basically made it so they were able to rip me to shreds really quickly. I think the next game I actually did so bad that I just got the bye, and my final game was against an Ira. The Ira was actually the partner to the Icelander, and before the event started, they were borrowing some of my Ira equipment, because I do have the deck built. I have an Edge of Autumn version of the deck built. I didn't want to play Ira and get too invested in the training and everything, knowing that basically 100% that she will be benched for at least one season. I hope they ban Kadachi's, but we'll see. It was a pretty close game. I came in with something crazy, like 18 confidence boulder drop on turn 1. I think I went first, was able to set up, blocked everything out on their turn 0, and then turn 1, I hit them with that, but they were still able to crawl back from that, because I think I got 2 all red hands in a row. And so that was my first skirmish. That was actually in the middle of week 2, so it was really hard to get to events. And I actually missed all of week 3. But I did a lot more Talishar preparation.
Probably just when I've already been running. Ooh, we go second in this matchup for sure. There's far too many reds for me to get kind of cheeky with it, I guess, but... So 12 damage there? 4-card 12? Don't think that's good. I don't think that value's good. 7. Well, this is going to get a card in my hand. This is going to get a card in my hand. God, that's so good. Thump, discard a card. Fuck. Oh my god. What do I even get rid of here? I cannot believe how much I just need a fry in my hand. It is crazy. Oh. Do we just win? Well, actually, no. We super fucking lose. Because we can't block. Oh, God. What the fuck am I even doing, dude? What the fuck are we doing? What is this? Oh my god. I want to jump off a fucking bridge. How do we lose? Oh, we were so in. This is crazy. Sure. Yeah. Are you ready for this? You ready for double Volteris? See, I wish I didn't block with my headpiece now. I would have won. Sure. Sure. Just let me know when the video's done. I want to see it.
The next skirmish event was actually the final skirmish event, the final day of skirmish season. And what I didn't realize is that it was Mother's Day. And so I went to Star and we discussed it. And they told me that I could go. They said that it was fine. Leading up to it, they were actually able to take their mother out for a little brunch, and I stayed back and watched the baby. So they had time to themselves, and they said that that's all that they wanted for Mother's Day, and that I was okay to go to the event. And I had to at least stop by the LGS because I had a Icelander deck for McBee, who actually helped me a little bit build this deck. But I realized while going up there that maybe it wasn't the best idea to, leave the mother of my child to go play a card game. And so I made the honorable decision to just drop off the deck. I got a little bit of B-roll, for this video, and played a quick game against one of my locals, Jay, just for fun, just so I could at least play one game on the new deck. And I went back and spent what was honestly a really lovely time with my wife for Mother's Day. So I did not get nearly enough time on this deck, but that said, I'm not done with this deck. I'm going to keep practicing and trying to get good with it and just see where these bans really lead the deck. I'm actually really excited and want to build Pleiades in CC because of some of the spoiler cards that have come out for Omens. And I want to just see, just how good I can make this deck, because I want it to be more of an aggro Guardian build rather than just some type of block slap, which I do kind of like what Vald is doing, but obviously I want to be able to take full advantage of the Guardian instance that came out of Super Slam. The cheer effect that makes the confidence tokens with Pleiades is just really fun and can be super powerful. I just feel like I'm right on the verge of like cracking it. That said, let's get into what is pretty much the final deck tech. Okay, as you can see here, we have Big Bonk. This is the latest version, as you can see, up there, but I'll have this posted in the description of this video if you want to check it out, try it out for yourself, and maybe even hop into my Discord if you have any ideas of how to improve it, because I really do think that this deck has viability. I just am not, I'm missing something. I can feel that I'm missing something, whether it's ratios or something like that. But we'll start off with the armor. I don't think, with the equipment itself, I didn't really want to run what the other Guardians were running because I was already at kind of a disadvantage and I didn't want to give any buffs, like might tokens, draw cards, anything like that to the opponent. And also a lot of the stuff kind of just fuels my game plan even better. I mean, Helm of the Adorn is one of the most obvious one. The crowd cheers you. On the opponent's turn, you will create a confidence token. So on your next turn, you will be able to come in with confidence. If you can line this up just right and have a little bit of luck, or you're able to put a big attack into your arsenal right before you can block with the Helm of the Adorn and have like an edge of their seat or tension in the air about to come in as well with it, then you can really make just this one block headpiece be, as devastating as possible. Magmatic Carapace is also a great one. Obviously, having the 2 block on there is phenomenal. And whenever you play an aura, you may tap this and pay 1 if you do create a Seismic Surge. Works so well with tension in the air that it's not even funny. So on their turn or turn 0 if you're going first, or even on turn 0 if you're not going first, what you can do pretty well is play like either, I would only do this on turn 0 if you're going to get the redraw on it, but the edge of their seats or tension in the air. And if it's your go, you can arsenal something like Boulder Drop or Cartilage Crush and get the buffs ready to go and make it cheaper just in case you draw like an all red hand, which just makes this super powerful. And even if it's not your turn, playing out an edge of their seats, still tapping this and paying for it with a red, knowing that you're going to get some cards back is also really powerful. You just have to remember that it does not work on Comeback Kid because it's not a Guardian attack, or the Seismic Surge that you create won't. Because there's been a couple times that I've used resources kind of in a not efficient way because I was expecting Comeback Kid to get the Seismic Surge discount, and it just obviously doesn't. Something else that kind of goes with that is the Gauntlets of Boulder Hold is only Guardian attacks. I really only have this because it kind of just helps when you have extra blues in your hand. This one I could actually see changing out for the more generic, I don't remember what it's called, but it blocks and gives them a might. But then, I don't know, I feel like that's just making your opponent way too powerful in something like Sage. So that's why it's stayed for this long. And then Comeback Kicks I've actually proved to be amazing, because if you're losing tempo, it will do exactly what it says. If you can get, a couple of blues and something like a Comeback Kid, this is literally made in name and also what it does to work off of a Comeback Kid. So Comeback Kid, when this attacks a hero, if you have less life than them, the crowd cheers you. If you've been cheered this turn, this gets a +1. Bam. If you have less life, you can destroy this. You can gain 1 action point. So I like to block with these early just in case. So if you have 2 blues and Comeback Kid in hand or an arsenal and you're under life, you can play the Comeback Kid, you'll get cheered, and then when the crowd cheers you, you can break this. And then if you have another attack, that's great, but you can always just also swing Hammer. And it's okay for like clearing allies. It's good for just getting that extra damage across at the end game, or even if you're just 1 life below, swinging and trying to take tempo back. So Comeback Kicks are great. We run way too many misses to be running Miller's Grindstone, so Titan's Fist and a Steelblade Buckler are perfect. Obviously, you can run the other fancy shield that does the same thing as Steel Braid Buckler, but I think the vibe for this deck is more just Steel Braid. It just looks better. I don't know. I also just have a cold foil. Going on to the attacks, we have Boulder Drop, red and blue. We have Cartilage Crush, red, Comeback Kid in the full rainbow, and then Energy of the Audience I used to have as a 2 of, but now just kind of a 1 of. I've never gotten it to actually come in for more than 7, because it says if you have less life than each other hero, this gets +1 for each Aura of Suspense you control. A lot of our Aura of Suspenses are going to actually be dropping in this before the attack hits, but it is also nice if you have something like To Be Continued or What Happens Next sitting on the board. It can just give it a little bit of a push, and a yellow 3 for 7 isn't horrible, and it's a 3 block. That's also just another reason why it's in here. Also have Uplifting Performance. If you control a Confidence or Toughness token, this gets +1. When this hits, create a Confidence or Toughness. This one's pretty good. A lot of the time it's just a pitch or a block, but sometimes this on hit can be really good if you're trying to set up a future turn. We did keep the blue Concuss just because it is a blue 3 block, and in the end game, this is something that you can reliably pitch to hammer, and if you get the chance and you get an all blue hand, you can make this a 3-card 6 with the gloves, and if it hits, they discard a card, which obviously isn't great, but it just keeps them from no blocking and sending their full hand at you, like something like an Ira or something. So you could just keep them off for one more turn and hopefully have something better to set up. Disperse is kind of like a weird one. It might be something that kind of gets sent to the sideboard. It is just a blue 3 block that comes in for 5, which isn't bad for a blue. But it's got some really weird text here that says when this defends, if it has 6 or more blocking, then the attacking hero puts a card from their arsenal to the bottom of their deck, which we don't make toughness tokens. This is definitely a tough nut card. But we do run Shining Courage. Up to 1 target defending action card gets +3 this turn. The crowd cheers you. And if they're coming in with kind of a big attack, say it's like a Guardian, we can throw this and throw the Shining Courage if we kind of have the sense that they have something like a Pummel in their arsenal. Or what this also works really good for is Iras when they like to try to keep an extra attack or even that blocking card in their arsenal. Obviously, it's kind of hard to get the full 6 block value out of these 2 cards. Usually you're doing it on their second chain link when they're sending something in for either 4 or 5, if they're not just immediately sending the second Kodachi. But that's okay because we're still getting the value out of it. We're still sending away their arsenal. Or we can wait to whatever's after that second Kodachi and then do it then. Moving on from the attacks to the instants that we have in the deck, we have Edge of Their Seats, red and blue, Tension in the Air, red and blue. We already talked about Shining Courage. We have To Be Continued and What Happens Next. And we're also running Superstar. Now, just to get more into these really quick, I think the Edge of Their Seats and the Tension in the Airs are pretty obvious why we have them there. Hi, Editing Amp here. I just wanted to throw this in really quick in case you didn't know why these were in the deck. Basically, these are both pretty similar instants that have a very similar effect, one costing 3 and the other one costing 2. One of them will boost an attack by 5 and the other one by 4, and the reason that these are really good is because the suspense counters can be taken off at Pleiades at instant speed, so you can kind of choose when you want these buffs to come in case you have to take an off turn. Just thought I should explain that just in case anybody doesn't actually play Pleiades and wanted to for some reason learn by this random video. The To Be Continued, I'm kind of going back and forth on because it is a 2 block that prevents 1, but if your cards are kind of lining up really good and you're kind of just immediately taking the counters off of things like Edge of Their Seats, this thing can actually stick around for a while, and if you can kind of get that train rolling in something like Ira, their first Kodachi just does nothing to you. What Happens Next I only have as a 1 of, because far too often I would draw 2 of these, and blocking with 1 of these obviously just isn't great with it only being a 2 block. But I could see in the future if we kind of change the pitch rate of the attacks that we're running 2 of these just so most of them we can still attack with off of a blue. Superstar is a little bit of a weird one. It's kind of more just a blue 3 block, but it does help when you have extra pitch just kind of lying around at the end of a turn. If you pitch a blue to Tension in the Air and you do have like a superstar in your arsenal or something, you can play the superstar for like free, you put the 1 extra. And this is especially a good one to remove the counters from and put it onto something like To Be Continued or What Happens Next and kind of keep them around for a little bit longer. But also, it really helps you for the next turn or two decide when you want that confidence token. So you can really line up a big attack if you have to take an off turn because your opponent did something weird or you drew a bad hand and you weren't ready for that. And then we also have Cheers. Just a blue 3 block with Go Again. When this enters or leaves, the crowd cheers you. At the start of your turn, destroy this. Something that is kind of fun to do is play Cheers, and when you are above life, you still get cheered no matter what. But then if you come in with Comeback Kid, you will still get the +1 because you have been cheered off of Cheers. Similar thing happens with Superstar. And if you really need it to, like say your opponent's on 1 and they're giving you exact blocks on a Comeback Kid for 7, you can actually play something like Shining Courage or Superstar for the crowd to cheer you. And at instant speed, in the reaction steps, you can give this +1. So they either have to play a defense reaction or an Oasis and waste it on only 1 attack. Or if they don't have it, you can just kind of push over the top and, get them from there. Moving into the sideboard, there really shouldn't be too many surprises here. I kind of run the same 36 in the main board no matter what matchup I'm going into. So it's really kind of just breaks down to if we're getting attacked by wizards, we get the Arcane Lantern, Norrune, and Norrune. And I'll throw in the Oasis Respites, and I like to throw in the Pummels against Wizard just because they're usually giving me exact blocks, even though they do have that defense reaction. But I like to try to save the Pummel for after they've already used 1 or 2 of them. If we're going up against Runeblade, I usually like to throw Norrune Gloves and the Arcane Polarity is in. I like to keep the rest of the armor how it is to keep the blocks up against Runeblades, and that's where something like the Clash of Arms and Clash of Legs come in, just to give me a little bit more of that 4 block and a little bit more time to set up those turns. The Smack of Reality is obviously just pretty much for Florian, but it also does kind of work against Volda, but it will only really stop her for a turn, and obviously Guardian's pretty good at blocking. Now, if we have these type of board state decks like Dromai or especially Gravy, that's where Overload comes in. If Overload hits, it doesn't say hits a hero, it just says hits, it gains Go Again, and it's a 0 cost. I went back and forth with stuff like Zealous Belting and stuff like Blow for a Blow, but they were just too conditional, and up against those matchups where I'm kind of already at a disadvantage, I wanted something that would just guarantee me to take out an ally or a dragon or whatever it was. But yeah, as of right now, that's pretty much the deck. I've gone back and forth on the idea of like removing Cartilage Crush for something else, but it seems in a lot of decks that you go up against right now, other than like Ira, because she's perfect against everything, a lot of them have pretty tight resource curves, and so having something like an additional 1 can really hinder one of their turns. And obviously Boulder Drop is just good for the disruption. But let me know what you guys think. I am going to still continuously work on this deck and try to improve it as much as I can. And hopefully the next time there's a event around here, I can get some more coverage of it and show you guys the deck in the future. But also, let me know down in the comments below what decks you would like to see, especially off-meta decks. I would like to continue doing this. What random and kind of more out there heroes do you think could stand a chance if someone just would put in the time to train with and really flesh out those heroes? But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one.